And we are live, ladies and gentlemen.
Hello.
Greetings, children of the screen, and welcome to the series finale of What You Mean You Ain't Seen, where we're going to be taking a look at Cannibal Holocaust. I am joined tonight by the two who started the show off with me,
Bree.
Logan.
And tonight is going to be probably the most similar to our early videos, because those early videos done on my phone, I really didn't have a lot of editing capabilities on that.
Mm-hmm.
So it was pretty much, we would just talk for 5 minutes and that would be a take. And I would just maybe cut the end, cut the beginning off. But other than that, we just used it.
You're going in dry.
Yeah. So it's basically like no editing. And so doing this one live is probably the most like spiritually akin to the originals.
Oh, yeah.
So yeah, guys, episode 50, Cannibal Holocaust. Now I'm going to go into the stats, but since we're live and we're doing this a little bit different, by the way, if people show up and you want to ask a question in the chat, go ahead. If not, we're just going to barrel through this. So yeah, I'm going to go through the stats here in a minute, but just briefly, was Cannibal Holocaust what you were expecting?
Oh, man. Yeah, no. I don't know.
Because we've been working our way up to this. I've been like giving y'all movies that are slightly worse and slightly more like, you know, like I've been trying to build it up. So, you know, it's like doing heroin. Like if you do too much at first, you'll die.
Yeah.
But if you do enough, then eventually you can get to that point that's just like on the edge of death where it's perfect.
It was just as bad as I was thinking it was going to be.
Okay, fair.
She's a vagina. I think you hardened us pretty good for this one. It wasn't near as bad as I was expecting. Like I thought I was gonna have to leave the room or something, but like it's pretty good.
No, yeah,
I mean it wouldn't like you know.
And clearly
sucked.
I've seen like the movie before, but I kind of actually remembered it being more fucked up and disturbing than it is. But a lot of that I think just is involved in like the hype that comes along with the movie. Yeah. So before we get like into the real meat of it, I'm going to jump in and do the stats, which means since we're doing this live, you guys get to see me trying to fuck my way through this.
Going in raw.
Yeah, so here we go. I'll give you a little like peek behind the curtain and shit. You know what I'm saying? So Cannibal Holocaust was originally released in 1980. It is unrated and comes in at 95 minutes. The basic plot of the movie is during a rescue mission to the Amazon, a professor stumbles across a lost film footage shot by a documentary crew, and he returns it to the network who paid for it, and they start going through it trying to determine if they're going to air it or not. That's the general plot. The film is directed by, and everyone who's been watching the show knows I am not great with names, so here we go. It was directed by Ruggero Deodato, and that's probably the only one that I'm going to get even remotely in the ballpark of getting, because he's the person who I've heard his name the most. So here's the thing. I suck at this. Should I actually attempt to read all these Italian fucks' names? Ooh. That might be worth it just for the giggle factor. So real fast, we're going to give it a shot. I'm not going through the whole fucking movie.
We could take turns.
Just the core cast.
Yeah, we could take turns.
You know, so the first one, the easiest one, Robert Kerman, because he's an American. He's the guy from Debbie Does Dallas, or one of the guys from Debbie Does Dallas. He played Debbie. No, he didn't. No.
Like, okay.
And then literally every name after that is just the most Italian as fuck thing you've ever seen. So Francesca Chardier. I know I've seen her in other movies and heard her name before. So let's see. Perry Perkinen. It almost sounds like Perkinen.
Yep. Okay. I thought they were gonna go Perkins, and then
no. It's Pirkanen. This is probably the most attention that this cast has got since like the movie and the director was put on trial.
Oh my God.
So let's see. Lucia.
Which some of those might not even be their names.
Yeah, some of them they're not. Lucia Barbaschini.
Barbaschini.
Oh, actually, that's okay. I got that one pretty close too.
Barbaschini.
Yeah. Salvador Basil. Yeah, sure.
That's kind of cool.
Yeah, I've seen him in other movies too.
Yeah.
Carl Gabriel York. Oh wow. Okay. Yeah, he plays Alan Yates, so the whitest guy in the movie. I can say his name. Good for fucking me, right? And after that, that's really our main cast. Everybody after that is like the executives and just a bunch of other super Italian fucks. Here, just try to say that name. right
Oh,
there.
Lionello
Lionello.
di Savoia.
Yeah.
Yeah, see, that's
Lionello.
why we're just gonna move on amicably.
Yeah.
So we've already determined that the movie was a lot. But in general, what did you think of the overall film?
I don't know. Like, wow, holy fuck.
That's
Also, okay, I see you. I see what you're trying to do.
Ah,
Okay, yeah, that's
I'm
fair.
impressed.
That's fair assessment.
I mean,
Okay.
Yeah.
100% agree though. Like at first, like yeah, fuck this movie, but then like you start seeing like there's elements in play that you're like, okay, like you're just a low, like I'm probably not even a low budget. Like they had to have had a pretty decent.
It's pretty low. They shot it in the
Yeah.
Philippines.
Yeah.
Like it's a bigger budget than
And
like.
I guess
than-
that's what like brings about the questions and the like because it's impressive.
Yeah.
Like, there's a lot of impressive things in it, but it's
Yeah.
it is rough, but it's pretty solid.
I think that's part of what makes it so impressive and how rough it is.
is how
in
rough
some
it
parts.
is. Yeah.
Because it's rough, yo.
Oh yeah, it is really rough. I always seem to manage in my head to get this movie and another movie called Cannibal Holocaust like fused together because I mean like the plots are almost identical and shit, and a lot of the same things happen. But like I think that's why I kind of remembered this being way worse than it was because I thought there was like twice as much of all the really rough stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, this is a movie that I own it. The director's cut and all, and like, but literally I bought this maybe 5-6 years ago, and this was the first time I've watched it since I bought it because it's not a movie you're gonna watch all the time.
Yeah.
And like you guys were saying, like it's a rough movie that clearly has something it's trying to say. But then with me as like a film person and a person with like a background in filmmaking who like really dives into these things, I also know that like all the things that they're like the movie's preaching against, the creative team on the movie also put those things into practice during the making of the movie.
Yeah.
So it's like it has a message, but at its foundation, it's totally hypocritical.
Yeah.
So it's just like it devalues the artistic value that they were trying to put in it by throwing their own like ideals or like message out the window.
Yeah.
So it like exists in this really weird place where like, and the movie is fantastic in the fact that the director wants you as the audience to feel culpable in the bad things that are happening in this movie. It's why the movie's structured the way it is. If you remember when we watched Hostel, it was also very similar. And actually Roth stole that idea from this movie of the idea of like starting off presenting violence as something that's horrible but detached from you, and then slowly bringing you, the viewer, more into like the depth of the violence until at a certain point, like you actually kind of start wanting violent retribution for certain characters.
Yeah. Yeah.
And in that way, this movie makes you feel culpable. And the fact that like everything behind the making of it was also so fucking immoral, like really cements that. So it's one of those like weird places. It's not like life imitates art, imitates life, but it's like this weird Ouroboros like snake that eats itself, like moral and ethical, like philosophical fucking existential conundrum.
Right. What an odd gray area to be
Yeah,
in,
it
like...
is. And I mean, because like it and that other film that I got it confused with, or like I kind of combined them. Those are like the two most banned films in the history of film.
Yeah.
You know?
I can see why.
Like the fucking director of this movie was brought up on charges for obscenity, animal cruelty, and murder, and conspiracy to commit murder, and like shit like that because of this movie.
Yeah.
So like, I do really enjoy this movie. I think it has a lot of very important like cinematic merits. Like the movie, the cinematography in the movie is beautiful. Like it's also the first movie to introduce the idea of like the found footage element.
Yeah.
And while this movie maintains like the framing device, like it's the same basic principle at work as like Blair Witch, where like he made these actors disappear after the movie. He made them sign a contract saying they wouldn't be anything for a year because he wanted people to question whether or not it was real.
Yeah.
And fuck, that shit worked because again, he got brought up on charges. So it's like clearly the movie has merit as a technical work, but with all the like underhanded shit that went into making it and all the like morally bankrupt things behind the camera, it's really hard to like embrace and focus on like the artistic intent behind the movie.
Yeah.
So yeah, I do enjoy the film for what it is, even though it's very hard to watch. But but yeah, it's another one of those. And again, it's like why we watch movies like Clockwork Orange and stuff like that, where there are these movies that put you as the viewer in a moral gray area where you really have to assess why you like a movie. And then, because yeah, there are people who will watch movies and like things like I know plenty of people who just like this movie because all the gore in it. They don't care if it's real. They don't care if it's fake. Like they're just watching it for that. And on some level, that's
like the multiple different strands of age of women that go nude in it all the time aren't enough for them.
You know, like I'm just saying, like they indiscriminately, they don't care that there's real animals killed in the movie. They just want to see gore, and the realer it looks, the better to them. And like, while that's like, I guess if that's what you're into, man, like go for it. And like, I love gore in a movie, but I love gore in a movie because of the artistic technique that goes into it, like making it look real, not like literally taking a real animal and chopping it up into pieces
for the sake of
fun, like
or whatever,
entertainment, or even for the sake of like trying to make a film that makes people ponder important questions about white culture and like us encroaching on the uncivilized world, or whatever the fuck kind of like bullshit they were trying to like.
Yeah, was it worth the 9 muskrats you killed, or however many it was during?
Or like the giant turtles, or you know, that kind of shit.
That's
like the and like there's stuff that's not in the movie too, where like I think like there's actually at some point there's footage of like the alligator snake fight that's like, but I don't think that's something I'm pretty sure what that is they found where the snake was and just released the alligator into the area, and then obviously they went after each other. Shit like that. So yeah, I like the movie, and I think it definitely has merits, and I think it's a movie that should exist. There's a lot of people who say this movie should just be erased from history, like taken off the shelf. No one should ever have access to it. And I think that that's wrong, in the same way that today we still, as filmmakers, people still watch German films that came out of the era where the Nazi regime was overseeing their whole film industry. People still watch that and can appreciate like the technological advances in terms of the craft without agreeing with the message, or without the subject matter, or even without agreeing with the things that are happening
just
in the movie.
Simple historical, having a visual historical documentation of
like
the of filmography. Like the craft, like you said.
Absolutely. Because there's a lot of movies that have become big budget hits and mainstream hits that would not exist without what this movie did. Again, like Blair Witch is a great example. Like without this movie, like they pretty much just like pulled their whole marketing campaign out of that, you know? It's and ridiculous and remarkable. And it's not the first movie to like say based on a true story or anything like that, but clearly like it's effective in what it does, so it deserves to exist and to be restored as it has been here for people to study and ask themselves the questions of like, is this movie good? You know, like, and again, like this movie could never exist in the world today. Like Eli Roth made a movie a few years ago called The Green Inferno, and like he had to go about it in a completely different way that was very like eco-friendly to a large degree, and that's absolutely fantastic that like that's the way that it works now. And without these kind of movies being made in all the wrong ways, like we wouldn't have a lot of the laws and a lot of the safety precautions, not only for animals but for indigenous cultures in areas where we go to film and stuff like that. So even out of the bad that comes from it, a lot of bad in it, a lot of good has come from that it has helped develop. So again, it's one of those things where you can't erase something that's rough for the sake of like making history look pretty. Like it has to be preserved and studied. Otherwise, we're just gonna like make the same mistakes and do the shit again.
Do it again, exactly.
So now that we've gotten that little bit out of the way,
excuse me,
why don't we go ahead and jump into favorites? What was your favorite thing, Bree, out of motherfucking Cannibal Holocaust?
Surely it had to be the.
You want the truth, bud?
Go for it. Let's do this.
My favorite thing is that from like I think 15 minutes into the movie, I guess, they pretty much tell you that all the bad guys die.
Yeah.
And that and like offhand, you don't really know it at the time, but like later on, you come to realize like, oh, they fucked up.
Like the first 2 minutes.
No, yeah, like.
Well, yeah, it said that they're not found.
Yeah, they're missing and stuff. They're presumed dead and
they don't know what happened while they were there and blah blah blah.
Right.
Blah, whatever. Those fuckers died and they just.
Yeah. Well, and I mean, like, and this actually, that's the thing, though, is I'm glad you mentioned that on one level, because, like, yeah, okay, that's true. Like, very early on, like, you get a sense of, like, not what happened to them, but like, oh yeah, they died horribly.
Yeah.
But what the movie does really interestingly is in the like everything that we see until the professor gets the film back to New York frames it as if the documentary filmmakers are the victims.
Yeah.
And so like even like when we see like the one native killing his wife after like raping her with a fucking sharp rock as like some kind of like ceremonial thing, like we see that and immediately associate, oh well, if that's what they do with their own people, imagine what they would do to an outsider, you know, if they're that brutal.
Exactly.
But it's only after seeing the movie that we realize, no, that's the woman who was raped by the documentary crew, and that's part of like their cultural belief system.
Yeah, which, and then you could just go look back at Christianity with adultery, like they stoned people. So like,
yeah, exactly. So like while it seems savage at first, it's like, well, yeah, like they have very different belief structures and they're separated from society. They're not as advanced, but at the same time, like they weren't the ones who brought like an evil that had to be answered by that kind of violence into the world.
Yeah.
Like again, obviously in the movie we see these little tribes at war and stuff, but at the same time we also see the documentary film crew staging that, like literally setting one village on fire and then like leading a group of the natives to where they know another group of natives are so that they can start a fight and then step in with their guns and then like endear themselves to one of the groups.
Yeah.
Like you know, on every level it's just like fucked and corrupt.
Yeah.
But I love the way that the movie plays with your emotions because again, like there's a point by the time we get to the point where the documentary crew dies, you're like, oh yeah, fuck them, let them die, you know.
Yeah.
But then again, like that's part of it making us culpable is like, you know, like we reject them and are disgusted by them because they are a representation of like us, what we see in society. And in the movie, it basically levels all of society, all societies to like one, like people are brutal, like
no matter what side you're on.
Yeah.
But,
and at the end of the day, people are like retaliatory. Like most of the time, and again, this is not always true, but like most people, if you respect them and leave them the fuck alone, you're going to be fine.
Yeah.
Like,
that makes sense.
You know, and like, it's just, I really appreciate the way that the movie plays with our emotions in terms of like context and what we know. And like, really does a good job of like taking us from being like sympathetic to being just as like, because at the end, when we're saying like, oh yeah, fuck them, let them die. Like we're at that point, we as an audience have become just as bad as they are.
Yeah.
And sorry, I kind of fucked my way around that. But that's what I was trying to get is that like
we watched a couple films like that.
Yeah,
they do kind of break down that barrier.
Where like whenever you're done, there are some movies that are designed, and I think that like the first Hostel is also a very good example of this, which is why I mentioned it earlier. And The Descent is also another good one, where like there are these movies that like over the course of it, they're entertaining you, but they are like dragging you down the same rabbit hole as their characters and like slowly like breaking you down to like you get this effect of the movie's over where like you do actually feel like you've lost something. Like not like something in terms of like your entertainment, but like maybe there's something fucked up inside of you. And like not that the movie did this to you, but like it was always there and you just noticed it, you know? And like I love that in a horror movie. Like it just goes a place where very few movies go, and I think that like again it speaks to the technical precision the movie's made with that like it works, it does, no matter what went into making it, like it's effective in that. And like the thing you're saying about like the way that they like give us information about the characters and the fact that we know they die up front, and then me like, you know, saying like, oh yeah, but we have a certain association with that, like that's very important to like getting that started. So yeah, since we're going live, there's gonna be a lot of tangents on this video. Y'all should just expect that shit.
Yeah.
How about you, sir? What was your favorite thing? Your turn now.
Oh, no cut.
No, yeah, we're rolling.
Yeah. Man, I mean, you pretty much nailed it. Like there was, like to me, I could appreciate like it made me feel like I was in 8mm, like straight up, like in that scene in that movie where you're like, they're like, oh fuck, is this real? You know, and you're like, oh shit, it is. Nope, I just saw the lady not move in the background. Okay,
right.
Like you know what I mean? Like you're like, ooh, like that's pretty bad. But then at the same time, like there's the other part you said that's really my favorite, and it's in the warning at the beginning of the movie. Is like, yeah, like this movie sucks, like it's rough, but like it's a piece of history and fucking free speech.
Yeah.
So Like,
it
here
acknowledging
is.
how bad
And,
it is in places.
And I like that because, yeah, like you watch it and you're like, you know what? Yeah, like it's bad, but it's got a lot of qualities that you can go, nope, I understand where they're like, it's historical. Like it's a piece of the film history. So
and at the same time, and I might be wrong on this. So if in the comments someone wants to correct me, because I'm pretty sure that I found this out at some point in my research, but it was a while back. I'm like, yeah, but I'm pretty sure that like nowadays, if they sell a copy of Cannibal Holocaust, that a good chunk of each copy sold actually goes to like PETA or some other like animal. Like I'm pretty sure that forever, the rest of its history, portions of Cannibal Holocaust go to like different charitable funds.
Yeah. Good call.
You know, so it's like if we're gonna sell it, if it's gonna be out there, then like let's try to make some of it. And mind you, like that's really lip service, I guess. It's just like, yeah, we'll give some of the money to fucking charity, you know,
or PETA.
Yeah, but I mean, it at least shows like an acknowledgement of like that the things that went into making this movie are not all good, you know, and I think it's important that we acknowledge that.
Oh yeah.
So yeah. Anyway, so yeah, the fact that it acknowledges it, and then, and that.
Yeah, I mean, like, you know, it's like a bunch of stuff I didn't really care about in the movie because, you know, like you go in and you're like, they're gonna die. A lot of people are dying.
Yeah.
The turtle, fucking.
Yeah, that was pretty rough.
Yeah, I'm sure we'll get to that in the next segment of the video, but yeah.
But yeah, like I mean, just like that, like the whole ideal we just talked about.
Yeah,
is pretty much my favorite part.
Right on.
Like yeah, like you do walk away questioning.
Yeah.
Some things, but overall, like it's not too rough.
Right.
But it's just rough enough where you're like, ooh, like it gives you that. It felt like we were doing 8mm shit. Like we were just like, we're gonna find the most fucked up shit. Like,
right.
You know.
Yeah, so, we never made it to Antichrist, so this is what we get.
God, no. I'm good. Hard pass.
But yeah, so, and I mean, like, there are definitely things I enjoy about the movie, but again, since we're live, let's go ahead and, so first off, like, I just want to say, the cinematography, I already said it once, the cinematography in this movie is fucking beautiful.
Yeah.
And despite the fact that there are animals killed in this movie, some of the wildlife photography in this movie is fucking magical looking.
Yeah, I think we talked about it a little bit, but the remaster looks fucking great.
Yeah,
like,
it looks amazing.
It looks fantastic for like how old it seems to be.
Yeah, and the fact that they're literally shooting it in the jungle on 1970s, 1980s equipment and
I feel
shit.
like we barely got into that. Like, yeah, this is in the 70s, low budget.
Yeah.
Like,
and it looks good.
It looks great.
Like for how grotesque and
again,
awful it is.
It's made out of Italy, and like in Italy, they consider horror movies to be art. So like, while they don't necessarily have the same kind of big budgets that like an American like big budget, well, yeah, like especially like this director, he had made several. Like he made enough people money that like I don't think this was a horribly low budget, but it wasn't a big budget either. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So yeah, like the cinematography is beautiful, and like I think that if it wasn't for the movie looking so beautiful and having such horrible things in it, like I think that contrast is important with what they're going for.
Yeah.
And also helps sell like that sense of realism that like you feel, like you were saying, like the snuff film feeling of it, where like it feels like you're watching something that's really happening.
Yeah.
At the same time, another thing that works so well because of the like the emotional, like the cognitive dissonance of like the score. Like how much the score is in complete contrast to everything you're seeing on the screen, and is like presenting you with like this music that almost sounds like it's almost out of like some kind of weird propaganda film or something.
There's like
that.
One or two spots where it was like heavy, like heavier tones that kind of matched, but other than that, there was a lot of other scenes where it's like very upbeat music, upbeat old 70s like coffee shop music, and people are getting fucked up.
And even the other music that feels different, like there's a line that explains that the guy who edited the footage together to show it to them, like he was like, I threw in some temp music here and there, you know, so like
golly,
so it's just like the score is just, it's very effective for what the movie's trying to do. Again, like I don't think it's one of those scores that you can just pull to the side and just listen to, but I think it's an extremely effective score. The special effects in the movie are really great.
Yeah, they are.
Like they're shot really well. Like you never see, and again, like part of that's because a lot of the stuff is like, you know, they're using real animal parts for the human pieces in some scenes and stuff, which lots of movies do. So it's like, but I mean, it looks, a pig heart and pig lungs look very similar to an untrained person in 1980
Yeah.
to human heart and lungs.
Yeah.
So like, it's an easy way to get it done, and it's cheap, and I'm pretty sure that like there's animals out there who would eat the shit afterwards. So it's probably the one good thing they did. Unless they actually killed the animals that they used that stuff themselves and just let the rest go to waste.
Yeah.
Anyway, the effects in the movie that we see that are actual effects that we know are effects are really solid.
Yeah.
Like a lot of the corpse, like
yeah, absolutely,
stuff like that.
Yeah. All that stuff's really good, and like just some of the violence that we see, like some of it we see very graphically, and then other stuff we don't really see very graphically, but the way it's staged, really makes it work.
Yeah, sells it.
Yeah, and kind of in that same vein, I will also give this film credit for all the horrible things it does, and it's definitely an exploitation film. They avoided the thing that I hate the most in exploitation films, is that they don't shoot either of the rape scenes as a sexy scene.
Yeah, no.
They're both very brutal and gut-wrenching.
Mm-hmm.
And even like the second one with the second girl, you don't even see all that much of what's happening.
No, but like,
but that almost makes it worse because it makes it feel more real.
Yeah.
Sorry guys, problem with being live and having dogs, they're fucking dickheads.
But yeah, you're not wrong. Like, just because also in that moment is like we see like a complete line shift with our main, like the people we're following.
Yeah.
On the second rape scene that makes it just like,
yeah, it's like
fucking worse.
Yeah.
Almost.
Oh yeah.
It's like they've gone
Like,
power drunk. And
Well,
like,
yeah, because like at that point they definitely know they should be running away.
Yeah.
And like one of the guys was just saying how he needed to save her, but instead when they get there, they just sit there and film it.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's like just like whoa, yeah.
Yeah.
And
Bad.
again,
Rough.
just nothing about it is done like so many exploitation movies of the time who were like, okay, well, we're having a rape scene, so that's a chance for us to get all of our nudity in here, so make sure and shoot it like, like basically they will have women posed in sexy positions for rape scenes and just acting like they're not happy.
Yeah.
And it's like, no, like
Not
this,
having it.
no, yeah, this movie tries to be a kick in the nuts. And like in every aspect of it, that's what it goes for. And that's definitely true in those sequences too.
Yeah.
Like at no point is there any titillation going on.
No, it's not easy to watch.
No.
At the end.
And if there is any titillation, it's because the person watching is a really sick fuck.
Yeah.
It's not designed to be titillating, is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So yeah, like again, as I said earlier, there are a lot of things in this movie that are of merit and like worth mentioning, and a lot of things that the movie separated from the moral like questions and all the moral ambiguity. A lot of technical aspects of the film that are done very, very well. Also for a cast that like doesn't really mostly speak full English, like the acting's not half bad in this movie. Also, like it's just the movie works.
Yeah.
I guess that's what it is at the end of the day. My favorite thing about the movie is just that it works as a piece, like separated from all the controversy. It functions as the kind of work that it was trying to function as, and like hits all those things that it was trying to do. Like it is a successful film in that respect as a technical piece of like cinematic art.
Yeah.
There you go.
So now,
all that being said,
right, I'm going to take a big dramatic drink here, and then we're going to go into our least favorites.
Oh boy. I know. I forgot to get a drink.
That's good.
10 points from Hufflepuff.
Drama. So, Bree, what'd you fucking hate at Cannibal Holocaust?
We actually,
I think we totally hit it there.
Yeah, we totally touched on it there for a second. My least favorite thing was actually the score.
The score?
Oh, really?
The soundtrack, yeah.
Wow.
It was the most unsettling to me.
That's fair.
Because, like, okay, true, the things you're seeing are very unsettling, but, like, it's fucking harder to see it when there's Disney music on in the background. It is, it was, I couldn't even watch some parts.
And here's the really fucked thing, because almost everything that's horrible in this movie happens in broad daylight and happens in a beautiful forest setting. You can play the song to this at any time of day, and it's gonna creep you the fuck out now. Like you play that main thing, like, ooh,
No.
You could just, it could be the 3 p.m. on a sunny afternoon and you're sitting in the front yard, and if someone were to sneak up and start playing that music, you'd be like, fuck no, I ain't getting 8.
Time to dip the fuck out. No, it was very, very unsettling. And like goosebumps even. Like, I didn't like it.
Okay. I mean, that's fair. Like, the goal of the score is to make you uncomfortable and to make you unease. So, like, again, it's fair that you didn't like it because it's not something that's meant to be pleasant.
Right.
But it also still speaks to, like, the thing I was saying about the technical, like, proficiency of the film.
Yeah, it knew what it was doing perfectly because I feel this way.
Yeah.
So,
and again, like, that's some few films really get right. Like, Rob Zombie movies in modern cinema do some of the best of that. Like, I think we talked about it for Devil's Rejects.
Yeah.
Or, like, the sound design of that movie, like, knows how to manipulate you as an audience member into, like, both, like, switching sides of, like, who you trust and who, like, which side you, like, identify with.
Yeah.
As well as, like, just pushing you to your fucking limit. And yeah, the score for this, not because in that music, but along with, like, the more, like, disturbing music, which is interesting because it's clearly synth music, but it's like the pitch of it is so off-putting, and it's such of, like, a rhythmatic, like, it almost sounds very much like the tribal music they play earlier in the movie.
Yeah.
But, like,
I know what you're talking about.
A white industrialized version of that.
Yeah, like a trap remix of tribal music.
So literally it's as if, like, the documentary crew's culture has, like, poisoned everything that's, like, pure about the native people, even if they're cannibals and stuff. Like, that's still them living a pure existence in their own terms and stuff. So, like, and that music, because of the way it drones and the pitch it gets to, it's almost like a siren in places and, like, a weird bass drum. Like, it's really unsettling music and really fucking effective.
Yeah, it is.
Especially, like, at the point where, like, you have the natives with, like, clubs beating someone to, like, that like that beat, and it's just like, oh god, like, it's fucking it's not even realistic at that point, because that's not how you would beat someone to death, but because it matches up with the music, like, it just, we're so ingrained,
so unsettled.
and like, we're so ingrained to see images and music together that, like, our brain just fills in, like, the missing realism with emotion, and it's just like, it really captures you in that way. And it's a fucking horrifically fantastic score. So that's fair.
Like a tilt-a-whirl.
Yeah, it's very fair. All right. And as for you, sir.
Too much man dong? No. I'm just kidding.
Wow.
There's is that a real turtle?
Yeah.
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 Okay.
And I'm pretty sure they did that more than once.
Yeah.
How? I don't even know.
Least favorite part of that movie.
Yeah.
Probably. Like, I'm not a PETA guy. I love steak, right?
Yeah.
Like, I go dove hunting. Like, I'll fuck a gator up for some gator tail, you know what I'm saying? But it's just a turtle, man. Like, you know, also, from what I understand about cooking a turtle, that is not how you cook a turtle.
Yeah.
Well, no.
But, and this ain't like a turtle. This ain't no red-eyed, like, little turtle. Like, this is a fucking tortoise, actually.
Yeah.
Like, it's just
it's probably like
100-year-old,
like, giant
fucking...
fucking...
they fucking mutilated.
Yeah, literally.
And like, there was parts of me is like, it's not real, right? Like, his legs are still moving. But then I was like, well, no, that's
just nerves.
That's about what they would do.
Yeah. And I mean, like, I at least give him credit with the, again, like, I don't give him credit. That's the wrong thing to say. But, like, I guess, like, the best you can say for, like, the turtle and the monkey is, like, they both die relatively quickly.
Yeah.
Whereas, like, the marmot earlier in the movie.
Or the pig.
The pig mostly gets shot, but, like, there's the marmot earlier that they, like, stab, like, 3 times in the throat.
Yeah, unnecessary.
Yeah. But, and again, like, they're still kind of smart in doing that. By the first animal death they show you is something that's not inherently cute.
No, yeah, like, it's like a rat.
Yeah, like, it looks kind of like a mean rat. So, like, the first time you see it, it's like, oh, fuck. Well, oh, God. Yeah. But, like, you know.
It's kind of like when, like, a possum's in your trash.
Yeah, or something like that. Like, you're like, okay, that's fucked up how brutal he was about it, but, like, I guess it's just a fucking marmot. But then gradually, as the movie goes on, like, the animal deaths become, like, cuter animals and, like, more tame.
A small pig. Like a monkey, a small, fucking, like,
He
I don't know what those
slices that
monkeys are
monkey's
called.
face off like
yeah,
a
and then
fucking...
sucks his brains and eyeballs out. Yeah.
And then like has the face.
No, but the
like-
turtle was the worst, I think.
But no, yeah, the turtle is the worst because again,
It
like
just made me angry.
they chop its head off and like it dies relatively quickly, but that turtle's nervous system is still kicking up a storm. And again, for the amount of time that we see the nervous system twitching and stuff, that couldn't have been one turtle.
Yeah, it was an oddly long scene.
Yeah,
it was like 4
well, and
minutes at
also-
least, I think.
Yeah, and also like we see turtle shells and stuff other places in the movie, so I'm pretty sure it wasn't one turtle.
Yeah.
So yeah, like the animal stuff, the turtle specifically is really rough because again, that scene goes on for quite a bit longer
Yeah.
than it necessarily needs
Yeah.
to.
So like that's why it's like hands down my worst
Yeah,
part about
it's kind of the most, it is like the most gratuitous thing in the movie as well. Like most of the other violence is really rough and really brutal, even the animal deaths, but most of them, most of them are very effective. Like they get the point across that you're like, okay, like you were saying, I get what you're doing, fine.
Yeah.
And then they move on with the movie, you
Mhm.
know, unless it's like a really good effect shot where it's fake and they're like, but even then it doesn't overstay its welcome. Where like the turtle scene really overstays its welcome.
Yeah.
Like that scene,
like they take the time to decapitate it and then break it open.
right?
And
As
Yeah.
if that's the scene where they're like, well, this movie really needs to be an hour and a half. So I guess if we're gonna cut all this other stuff, we'll just use all of this footage.
Gosh.
So yeah, it's a weird scene to have padding.
Yeah.
Yeah, a weird scene to have padding.
I need more murder in my movie for padding.
Jesus.
Right. You know, and like I guess like coming off of that same thing, yeah, my least favorite thing about this movie is kind of just the fact that like again, it's a very technically proficient film that like is trying to say something
Mhm.
that is important, but because of all of the like morally
Discounts.
nebulous bullshit, like you can't really take it for the value that it should inherently have as a work
Yeah.
of art.
Yeah.
Like, and especially in the day and age we live in now, like where you actually can find information on these things and you can see how badly the cast was treated and how badly the natives that they worked with were treated and, you know, how exploitative the entire process of making the film, even to the point of like the girl, some of the lady actors not wanting to be naked in the movie, so they stole her wardrobe. Like the scene where the girl's asking where her pants are is not in the script. They just stole her clothes because she didn't want to be naked for that whole scene.
Wow.
And like, so yeah, like there's a lot of shit like that that goes down in the movie that kind of negates a lot of the power that you could have from the same movie being made the right way.
Yeah.
Because like at the end of the day, would it have cost money to fake some of those animal deaths? Yeah. But like at the same time, did we really need those to make the point? Like, obviously we see the white folks be way more brutal to any of the animals than we see the natives be to like the white folks
Or each other,
Yeah.
or like anyone.
like
yeah.
even like when we see the natives ripping them apart, they're very clearly ripping them apart and eating them. Like it's
Yeah.
not for pleasure.
Yeah, no, it's like methodical. Like we're gonna. Yeah.
Yeah. But when we see them cutting apart the turtle, like specifically, like they're clearly just having fun. Like
Yeah.
when we see
literally.
what they cook to eat, they only cook the legs and the head. That's all
Yeah.
they cook.
And there's a lot more meat on there. They just fucked it up.
Yeah.
like.
And so clearly they're just fucking doing that for the fun of it, you
Yeah.
know? So like I get what you're saying. I get what the movie the scene's going for and shit, but it's like there's a way that you could have achieved that same thing without having to kill however many fucking giant goddamn turtles you did.
Yeah.
You know, and again, like y'all know me, I'm not like a hippy dippy animal dude or
No,
anything
yeah,
like
yeah.
that.
Yeah, that's
But-
what I was saying. It's like I you know, like, well,
Yeah,
I don't
like
care too much, but at the same time, it's like,
yeah,
Was that
but-
necessary?
Yeah, it's unnecessary and it's really fucked up. And like, I mean, does it look good and authentic? Well, yeah, because it's fucking real.
Yeah.
And, like,
'cause it is
again-
authentic.
And again, like that has great shock value to it that will get your emotional point across. But is there any quality or artistry in it? No.
Yeah, or like, what
Yeah.
point are you making?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Like,
what
what's
point?
why are you
Like-
doing it if you're
Right.
not trying to make a
other than
point?
like we are trying to portray them as like, well, they're like at this point they're the savages.
Yes. And the
Okay,
thing
I
is,
guess that's
yeah, no, and that
makes
is the
sense.
idea. Is like
Yeah.
we're slowly seeing them. Like first, they're desensitizing themselves to the level of violence that they're going to be inflicted, but we can also constantly see them like crossing lines, and that's like the
Yeah.
most violent we've seen them get. And it starts off with an animal and then progresses into the people.
Yeah.
And so again, but here's my thing: is like that exact same scene. Let's say that it looks exactly the same. It's the same length. If that was an effect, a puppet that was created by an artisan, and they created all the effects that go inside of him, and it still looks that real,
That'd be so
then you
cool.
have a masterful scene that I will watch 100 times
Yeah.
to see if I can see all the detail.
John Carpenter's the thing.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
That kind of shit. But when you just do it for real, there's no artistry in that.
Yeah, that's a real fucking turtle you just killed.
Yeah.
For nothing.
And I mean, I guess some people can say, well, it's like, it's like the cinema of the real and stuff. And it's like, it blurs that line that he's trying to blur between reality and fiction. And it's like, yeah, but like, it's really lazy.
Yeah.
It's really lazy. Like, so if you forget about the moral ambiguity of it, it's just fucking lazy. It was easier to kill something for real than it was to put the effort into trying to make it look good.
Yeah.
Also putting the actors in that situation where some of them might also question.
Yes,
asking them
absolutely.
to kill however many turtles they killed.
Right.
Like,
so yeah.
must have had a toll on them.
Right. So yeah, like that's definitely my least favorite thing about it is like the movie has so many good things going on, but just like the avalanche of bullshittery that went on surrounding the movie and like all the negativity that came from it, it makes it so hard to like get to like a clear like ending point on what you think about the movie. Like it makes it hard to analyze it because, you know, like ideally we should be able to separate the movie from the process it was under which it was made. But whenever the process under which it is made is this extreme, it gets really like it's a difference between like watching a movie where like, you know, like people got hurt in the making of the movie, like stunt people got hurt really bad, or maybe even died in the making of a movie.
Yeah.
Like there's a difference between watching that and seeing the stunt that killed them, but not the take that killed them, and actually watching a fucking turtle die.
Yeah.
You know, because again, you're talking about one thing is an art. It's an artistry. Like the stunt people are artists, okay?
Yeah.
Like they're athletes and artists at what they do. And like it's important to anyway, you get what I'm saying. Like it just becomes muddies the water and murks everything up so much that like almost like there's no general consensus on this movie. Like there's still people today who will claim that like all the rapes in the movie are real and like a lot of the deaths are real of people and stuff like that. But like, yeah, it's like the controversy goes much further than the movie itself.
Yeah.
Which is a shame because there was clearly a lot of effort on a technical level put into this movie. And there are movies that were made under much worse circumstances with much worse intentions behind the lens that are still watched in art school for what they did for the form and what they did for cinema as a genre, like not a genre, but as an art form, you know, and like, but this is discounted. And like, maybe it should be. Again, like, that's the thing. Like, I can't, sometimes I think it's a beautiful work of art. And other times I think it is pure 100% exploitative trash that, like, I probably shouldn't have in my collection. So, like, it's fucked.
Both
you know?
valid beat views.
Yeah, Cannibal Holocaust is fucked, is what I'm trying to say, guys.
It's really, really
surprise.
really
Yeah.
fucked.
Yeah.
The movie called Cannibal Holocaust.
Yeah, the movie
is
called
fucked.
Cannibal Holocaust. The movie
It's
that
a family flick.
a family picture, right? Yeah.
Oh god.
So anyway, guys, any general final thoughts on the movie? Anything else that comes to your mind? Anything else you want to share with the folks at home?
One clap. That's all it gets.
One clap.
One.
Goddamn.
Just one. Hey, I gave it a clap.
Sure, why not? Lolo, how about you?
Nah, dude.
He said,
You
no,
got you got nothing left?
I mean, we got it.
Yeah,
We
I mean,
gave it
like-
a little bit of praise. We gave it a little bit. Well,
We gave it some hate, yeah.
Yeah.
Plenty of hate. And that's what it deserves. I mean,
It's what she deserves.
Fair.
I mean that we didn't like. There's the lost picture part is pretty nice. Like I do. I
Yeah.
can appreciate that.
Mm-hmm.
Like really, the writing and editing like did kind of do a lot more
Yeah.
than what you would expect.
Yeah.
for what
Yeah, I
you
was
got.
surprised by just how much plot there was.
Because
Right.
Yeah.
when it shifted gears, like I thought we were gonna watch Home Dude, you know, and we are gonna watch his demise, and then
Yeah.
it switched to where no, he found what he was looking for and successfully made it out.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
then we get to see what actually happened to the shittier humans in this
Yeah.
film.
Yep.
Like, and that, like, all of that was paced and shot and everything like quite perfectly
Right.
for what I wanted, you know. So that's about the last thought
yeah.
I got. You know?
Right on.
With all that being said, we hate this movie. like, we don't condone anything in the film, right? Disclaimer.
Yeah,
Don't
I
shun the
don't-
shit out of the comments. Like, yay, rape. No,
No.
like fucking, it's bad.
Just don't.
So I mean, I guess does that mean y'all would not recommend this movie?
Don't watch this movie.
I mean, yeah.
No. Don't watch it.
Like,
I mean, here's the thing that I always say is like, first off, anytime someone asks me about this movie, I tell them the blunt truth about the movie.
Yeah.
Like that there's animals that get killed in this
Yeah.
movie, stuff like that. And but also like basically if you are a student of film or if you are just a diehard horror fan, then I think this movie is worth you watching. And I would recommend it. I won't say that you're gonna like it, but it is worth watching for the study of what this thing is.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because there are valuable lessons, both good and bad, to be taken away from it.
Yeah.
You know, so in that respect, I definitely recommend it. But even if it's like just your average person who's like, "Oh yeah, I like horror movies,"
yeah, if they're
the
like,
Baba
oh,
Book was really good.
Oh, dude.
You know,
You're a pussy if you haven't seen Saw. It's like,
yeah, like
raise you.
Oh, I've actually shown some of those folks this movie before. I think that was the last time I watched this. Someone who was
100%.
like, someone was like, "What do you mean you don't like Saw? You're not a real horror fan. Those movies are as metal as it gets." And I was like, "Dude,
are they?"
Oh.
And I was like, "I got something behind my right. I got something in my right hand, something in my left hand. Pick one." He picked the right hand. It was Cannibal Holocaust. I was like, "You, sir, just got yourself out of watching Necromantic." So, congratulations on that one. And yeah, that dude could not handle this movie. Like at first he was bored. Nothing's even happening, dude. Like where's the first kill? I was like, just wait for it. And then like when we finally do see that first kill, he was just like, what the fuck is this?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, yeah, it's like it's pretty much sums it up. At first you're just like, this isn't too bad.
I mean,
this pussy shit.
Yeah.
So oh shit.
Yeah. It's like,
like okay.
Yeah. Because like obviously it's a little risque. There's nudity and there's profanity and like there's obviously some allusions to drugs and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And then all of a sudden a bitch gets stabbed in her pussy with a sharp rock and you're like, what the fuck is happening right now?
It's a lot.
I don't wait, can we back up?
Let's not back up. I don't need to see it again.
Sharp rock and a coconut with what, nails in it? Like some kind of
Yeah.
rock with spikes.
I think it was
like twigs.
Mud and twigs.
Yeah, it was just mud and twigs and shit. Yeah. But yeah, so yeah, anyway, that is the way I recommend this movie is like, for those reasons, I suggest watching it. But even like there are other movies that have a similar effect, like Hostel, where I will gladly tell people to watch Hostel and like to rewatch it because that movie has a lot of merits that people don't pay any attention to.
For sure.
Yeah.
Similar to this movie, but this movie I'm not recommending in the same way I do Hostel. Like just if you're a horror fan, like it's going to be too much for a lot of people.
Yeah.
Like
go watch Descent.
Yeah, you really, really, really have to know like what you're in for. Oh, look, we got someone popping up in the chat.
Oh shit.
Hey.
Soulless Dragon Commander. Yo, what up?
Hi.
Sorry, we're getting close to the end here. We still got a few more minutes, but we've been talking about Cannibal Holocaust. Yeah.
Wahoo.
Yeah, you end up like we went and watched cartoons after watching that movie.
Yeah. I had to throw on some Avatar.
We need something a little happier.
Actually,
in our lives.
That's fair because after we got done with it, I was like, I need to read a book with pictures.
It's a lot, y'all.
Yeah, it is. Because again, like, and I can handle just about anything in terms of movies.
Yeah.
There are very few movies, and again, this movie wasn't as bad as I remembered it being. And I think that's also a strength of the movie is that like it is hardcore enough that like it makes you feel like the movie it's like Texas Chainsaw Massacre does the same way. The original Texas Chainsaw Massacre, there's almost like no blood in that movie. There's plenty of blood in this movie, but the movie is so emotionally intense that it makes you feel like you saw more than you really saw. You know, it makes you feel like you were really put through the ringer. Let's see. So Soulless Dragon Commander says, "Damn, I wish I knew what that was."
You don't. You really don't, bud.
I'm really happy you showed up here. You can watch the video whenever we post it after the fact. But let me just give you the brief rundown real quick.
Reminder.
So
for those that we're watching.
Yeah, here's going to be the brief recap before we move into the next segment of the video where we're going to be talking about I just want to ask you a couple of questions about the run of What You Mean You Ain't Seen
The
as a whole.
conclusion.
Yeah. But no, so just brief recap. Cannibal Holocaust is a movie from the 1980s. It's an Italian horror film about a bunch of white asshole documentary filmmakers who go into the Amazon, into the Green Inferno, not to be confused with the Eli Roth movie Green Inferno, which is inspired by all these kind of movies. And they go to make a documentary, and they're real manipulative and fuck with the natives, and they get fucking killed and eaten. And then like another dude goes and finds the footage, takes it back to like the studio or like the network who is going to air the footage. And they're like, oh yeah, we're going to air it. And he's like, what the fuck's wrong with you? We need to watch it.
Yeah.
And then they watch the footage, and like spoilers, by the end of it, they're like, fucking burn it. Fucking burn it.
Yeah,
literally,
that's the ending.
literally
Like,
burn it.
yeah.
Which is again great
Throw
because
it in the incinerator.
yeah, which again is great because that's like 75% of the people who see this movie is their reaction to it.
Yeah.
So like again,
like it made me feel like I was sitting in freaking 8 million. Like
Yeah.
like
It's
you're
a
watching
snuff
a
film.
snuff film.
Yeah.
You're like, okay, that doesn't need to exist.
This
Right.
can't be real. Yeah.
yeah, and so yeah, that's what Cannibal Holocaust is. And like real animals are killed on screen in this movie. It is a morally reprehensible film that is so fucking confusing because it also has a very high grade of technical quality put into it and forethought. And so it makes it just a fucking horrifically beautiful enigma to try to figure the fuck out. So yeah, that's Cannibal motherfucking Holocaust.
Hose.
And that is episode 50, the final episode
The final frontier.
of What You Mean You Ain't Seen.
Oh shit.
So real quick before we go, because I'm probably gonna cut this piece off and make it its own little video at some point.
Okay.
Cool.
So obviously y'all didn't watch all 50 of the movies. We had we had they had Rosie and freaking Vic in here doing
Mini
some of them,
Vic
and
is.
like Taylor was in here from time to time as well. And I think I also had Luke guest spot on one. So y'all haven't been here for all of them. But out of the episodes that we have done, what's your favorite movie that we've covered?
Ooh.
Oh shit. Honestly. Ooh. Tusk.
No.
Okay.
Like
What?
on a few levels, right? Because I've seen like different films that we've done. Like I've seen similar, or I've seen bits and pieces of, or I like we'll watch it for What You Mean You Ain't Seen at the end. I go, fuck, I've seen this ending before. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, like, I was exposed to some things, or like with Flash, like I knew what I was getting
Mhm.
into.
Mhm.
Right? That movie, I had no fucking idea what was going. Like, right?
Yeah.
Like that movie and my least favorite are like hands down some of the shit I went, oh, we fucked up. Like, you know what I mean? But also on top of that, like the acting in it, and we talked about it, and dude, like I have some friends that'll show me some shit and go like, yo, you gotta see this shit. And I'm like, yo, I will raise you. Like, you want to see Justin Long look like a walrus and fight another old dude in a walrus suit, like made out of human's flesh? And they're like, and I'm like, dude, you know, like,
Right.
and it's got me in a bunch of like moral like stretch things where like you're like, I actually enjoyed this film. Am I fucked up, or was this actually like a pretty
Right.
like, was it just like, is this what I'm into? Kevin Smith, you got me fucked here, buddy. Like,
Is this
you
what
know,
I'm
and it
into
just
now?
Right.
and
After we watch Crash.
and
I,
yeah,
Is this what I'm
so
into?
funny, and like I liked it.
Yeah.
You know,
no, yeah,
and,
Tusks is
because it was just
Cool.
it was a left hook. Like,
Yeah.
it was one of those that you go, I will remember this forever. now.
absolutely there
Yeah.
is.
And I will definitely pick it up and go to somebody's at some point. We're gonna watch a horror movie on Halloween because it happens every year. And go, yo, y'all want some weird shit? Like, so
And
I
then-
got some weird shit.
Then none of those people will ever talk to you.
Yeah, right.
Okay,
Awesome.
Tusks.
Yeah.
Sorry, let's respond here. Let's see. Sounds like something that actually happened. Not really. Like, there's a lot of movies that have had the same premise. That's the idea, is they're trying to sell it that it really happened. I mean, I haven't done the research though, so yep. At some point, maybe, probably. And then also says, P.S. My birthday is Wednesday. Well, happy early birthday.
Yeah, happy birthday.
Shout outs.
So, let's see what's up now. Bree, what
Right.
was your favorite Oh God, I know what it is.
I feel like I know
Fuck
too.
you.
I've been waiting.
Fuck
for
you.
it.
Kung Fury.
Okay, no, that's not what I thought it was.
I know what both of y'all
I'm
thought I was
pretty
gonna
sure.
say though.
Yeah.
No, Kung Fury is so much fun. That movie or that little series is amazing. I was pissed drunk in that episode, and we just had a ton
Kung
of fun
Fury was
filming
really
it.
fun.
Yeah.
It was so much
Yeah,
fun.
no, that was a solid one too. That is one that I look at my buddies and go, man, I know you got 30 minutes. Like we'll sit here and exchange videos on YouTube for 30 minutes. I can show you this shit.
Oh
Right?
yeah,
Yeah.
Kung Fury is the shit.
And
Yeah.
and it's always a winner. Like everybody I show it to, they're like, all right, you know. So,
Closely followed by Wicked Prayer.
Yeah, fuck you.
Yeah, I fucking knew that.
Fuck
was-
you.
That's what we were thinking.
Fuck you.
Wicked prayer. Look at
Yay.
that shit.
You're gonna
up.
That
soil
is a
our
shit
final
box.
episode with bringing that shit
Oh.
up.
It's my big
fuck.
favorite.
You know what's really fucked? Like now we've done 3 Crow movies on the show, and that's definitely the one that has the most views.
Does it really?
Yeah.
Yay.
And-
Probably because people were like, "Fuck, there's a third one."
Right. Well, that's the fourth one. Yeah.
Oh yeah. the
And,
fourth
like,
one,
But here's
we
the thing,
fucking-
like that video is back when we had a slideshow.
Mhm.
Like there's not that we
Right.
weren't even
yeah,
using
there's no.
clips.
Yeah.
So like it's
I just
actually
don't like our fucking faces.
it's actually even the shittiest of all 3 of our Crow videos in
Yeah.
terms of quality. And like it's the one that gets the most views. I guess that's fitting though, because it's the fucking Crow Wicked Prayer. The shittiest of the Crow movies deserves the shittiest of the
Hands
Crow
down.
videos
My
that I've
baby.
made.
Of
So
course she likes it.
right. And
Fuck.
so as for me,
Yeah.
obviously like I've seen all I've seen
Yeah.
just about all of
Which-
these
which makes it
before.
interesting for you to have like
Ooh, that's a good one.
your
too.
favorite out of all of them, Or,
Right.
like one that you thoroughly enjoy more than the others.
I would think-
Exactly.
I think I know. What
And
you'll say.
especially like because I edit them, for me a lot of them aren't as much my favorite in terms of the movie we watch, but in terms of the episodes we get
Mhm.
out of those.
Yeah.
So like I don't know, because like some of them have been really super fun.
Yeah, there are a couple of
Um,
really solid ones. I Heard Huckabees was a really good episode. I feel like we had
Yeah.
a lot of fun on Purple Rain.
My Heart Huckabees was an awesome movie.
Yeah.
It was so
and
good.
The Purple Rain video was cool because that was our first one back with video and
Mhm.
stuff.
So
So
also like I hate musicals, so that
Right.
was an interesting one.
definitely.
Yeah, you had fun though.
So real quick before I name my favorite, and then we'll go into our least favorite because I need a little refresher. I'm gonna run through all the movies we covered real quick. We're not gonna give descriptions. I'm just gonna name the movie
Okay.
and go through the list real
Oh,
quick.
Cool.
shit.
Ready,
here's-
speed round. Here we
Here's
go.
all of the episodes of What You Mean You Ain't Seen. Number 1, Green Lantern, Emerald Knights. Number 2, Justice League Doom, because we start off with comic book theme going. Number 3, Spawn the movie.
Mhm.
Number 4, Coherence.
That's a good one.
Fuck.
Right?
Yeah.
God, I talk about that movie to somebody and they're like, man, I need to watch that. I'm like, yo,
Right?
God,
It's really
cool.
good.
That movie's so cool.
Yeah.
Dope.
Like that's like definitely probably number 1, but like the reaction from Tusk was like hands
Yeah.
down better because that was just so.
Well, yeah,
away
that's
from
because like
everything.
Coherence is like a subtle work of art, and
Yeah.
Tusk
Yeah.
is just like a punch in the fucking face.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah,
like,
I mean,
you know.
yeah, one's a masterpiece and the other's.
Excuse me.
Right. So then episode 5 is the first Highlander movie.
Mm.
Hell yeah.
And then episode 6 was for Alien Week, where me and you covered Alien 3.
Oh right.
That was pretty fun too.
Mhm.
Let's see. Then after that, we came back with video with Purple Rain. After that was Howard the Duck. After that, for something very different, we went with David Cronenberg's Crash.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, fuck that.
If you ever wanted to see, Ultron get fucked in the ass by Casey Jones, that's your movie. Watch it. Then after that, we jumped into Devil's Rejects.
Mm.
Then after
Oh.
that, I think it's actually the only movie on this list that I hadn't seen before, like watching for the episode, was I went to Denton and did Solo, a Star
Oh,
Wars
yeah.
story with Luke. And then
I
right
don't
after,
think either of us got to that one.
right, and that's weird. Actually, I guess the Crow Wicked Prayer does have video because that's the next one on the list. So
Okay.
I guess that one does have video. My bad, I was mistaken. Obviously, I haven't watched my own video on the Crow Wicked Prayer that many times.
I watch it daily.
And it's been over a year since I edited that one. So then right after that was Kung Fury. Wow, your two favorites are like right together.
Yeah, that was the highlight in our life. I
right.
guess.
And then after that is I Heart Huckabees.
Because that's when she probably started hating us.
Right.
She started watching just more fucking crazy shit.
Fair.
She's like, what? Not
What's
fun
going
anymore?
on?
Well, it was
Not
still
even fun.
it was still a little fun after that because
I Heard Huckabees was fun.
yeah,
I Heard
and the
Huckabees
next
was
one was
fun.
Friday the 13th, the final
That one's pretty
chapter.
Yeah,
niche.
that one, yeah.
And after that was when we started doing like the weird like TV pilots and stuff. So we did, the Pride of the X-Men,
Oh, okay.
Oh,
the
so
pilot,
that's some fun.
the Flash 90s TV
Both
show.
were
Yep,
awesome.
solid.
Then we jumped from that into American Psycho.
Oh, fun.
And then
Yep.
back to X-Men for X-Men the Animated Series, the pilot. And then to Constantine with Keanu Reeves.
Yeah, well, that's because I think both of us were watching like the animated show.
Yeah,
and then
yeah.
You got me turned on to the
The
TV show.
right, that was
The
on
live action one.
right.
Solid. And yeah.
So and then I was like, there's a movie about him. It's just like fucking
Yeah.
not really.
Not really.
Right.
It's fucking Keanu Reeves being a dude.
Yeah. So then after that we did Walking Tall, the 1973 Walking Tall, not the
Yeah.
Dwayne The Rock Johnson bullshit movie.
Yep. My coworker was highly impressed that I saw that movie because he's like in his late 40s.
Oh
He's
yeah,
like-
dude.
he's
Yeah,
like,
dude.
You're
yeah.
cultured. And I'm like,
Yeah. If you're like 40 to 50-year-old redneck dudes, like, yeah, you tell them you've seen the original Walking Tall, they'll be real impressed.
Yeah.
Real impressed. They're just like, most people don't even know that's a thing.
I thoroughly
Yeah.
enjoyed it too.
Yeah, and it's a solid movie too
Nice
for what it
proportional
is.
stick.
Mhm.
Right? So then after that we went from Walking Tall to Reanimator.
Yeah.
And then Surf Ninjas. And then after that we did, oh my god, after that was Logan, which was the video I had to redo like 3 fucking times.
Yeah, that was a nightmare for you.
Yeah.
And then like all of us were
I was gonna
sitting
say,
in
wasn't
here.
it like 4 of us or 5 of us in
Five?
here?
Yeah, there was a
Yeah.
bunch of us in here
Yeah,
for
hot as
that.
balls, emotional, and like,
Yeah.
I think I
such a
cried.
good fucking movie though.
Yeah.
But even now on the playlist, like there is a playlist for all the What You Mean You Ain't Scenes. It'll be on the description of this video when we post it on YouTube after the fact. And it's just a playlist on the channel you can find. Even now, the video that's on here is the 3rd cut where I had to remove all the clips and music and replace them with title cards that says fuck YouTube, fuck Fox. Didn't get a copyright strike or a content strike on that one.
So fuck it.
So fuck it.
Probably because you used their names. You're like, shout out.
Right. And then also Soulless Dragon Commander said, what was your favorite of them to make? As soon as I get done going through them, that's what I'm going to be answering. I'm trying to remind myself of all of them so that I really have like, because again, there are videos, but we've been doing this over a year now and there's been 50 of them. Plus I've been doing like 2 or 3 other videos a lot of weeks. So,
Yep.
after that was our 25th episode, which was the doubles billing of Train Spotting and Train Spotting 2.
Jesus. Again, another movie I
Yeah.
talk about, and people are like,
Solid.
yeah.
Yeah.
You know,
Solid.
like I had one friend, he's a younger guy, but he lived that life and he
Right.
didn't even know about the second one.
Oh, yeah?
And I went, fuck, man.
If you're
Like,
out of the life now, you need to watch this
you
movie,
need to watch
man.
that movie. And yeah, I think he did because he was like,
Right.
hell yeah. Like he brought it up to me one time.
I think that was probably like I would say that double episode, not filming it really, but just us watching it was probably one of the most rewarding like viewings.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just because again, like no one expects anything out of Train Spotting 2, especially people who saw the original movie but didn't live in that life. So like y'all coming in fresh
Yeah.
and just being able to see it as a complete story and stuff,
Yeah.
like that was really a positive experience for me.
Yeah. It sticks with you.
So then after that, we did this
That
one
was a long day too.
Yeah, it was. And then the next one was actually the next one after that is the first one where like the girls like officially started taking part in the videos. I think so. Because the next one that we did was Akira.
Oh, I love that movie.
Now we
Which
watched
we
that.
ended up
we
watching.
watched
Yeah.
that movie. But I think that's actually one of the movies that we had watched planning to do a video, and then we fucked off
Yeah.
and didn't make the video
Which
on
is
it.
Yeah.
what fucking happens a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like some of these, don't worry, we actually got around to them, so you'll get to hear our opinions.
Right.
But, fuck.
Then we jumped into the What You Mean You Ain't Seen a Ween, which
Uh,
was
Oh,
the
yeah.
Halloween videos where we did From Beyond,
which
Nightbreed.
we also saw.
Yeah,
And Nightbreed was cool.
yeah,
That was a damn cool movie.
Yeah.
hell yeah.
Nightbreed was sick.
Then we did Videodrome, which is another one. We didn't do the video, but
Mhm.
I watched that one with
I
y'all
think
as
this
well.
is also when we started just watching fucked up shit.
Yeah.
Or just like more
Around.
intense.
Yeah, like well, also these were Halloween movies,
Yeah.
so there is a bit of a reprieve after that. But then not
Mhm.
long after that, I was like, oh shit, we have to do Cannibal Holocaust for number 50. So I got to start like getting y'all. I can't be giving y'all this fluffy bullshit, you know.
Right.
Like we got to get into this. So then after that was Friday the 13th, The New Blood. Then From Dusk Till Dawn. Then
Another good movie.
yeah, then Fanboys. Then The Highlander 2, The Quickening.
My God.
Yeah.
Yo, swear to God, I had another friend that he saw Highlander and he never saw the second one. And I went, you never saw the second? Like, the second one was good.
Yeah.
You know, there's like 5, right?
Right.
And he was like, no.
What?
And
Yeah.
I was like,
Yeah.
yeah. And so I showed him like the most ridiculous scene, which is the one on the hoverboard.
Yeah.
And they're fucking zooming over the cars and shit, and you can see the wires, and home dude's like cruising, and he's like, "This looks cheeseball."
Oh yeah, it is.
And I'm like, "It is," but if you like the first one, you'll fucking enjoy the second one too.
Yep.
Because fucking Sean Connery's in it too.
yeah,
Fucking
And he's
home
amazing.
dude, the villain,
Oh, yeah.
is doing insanity shit.
it's a shit movie, but it's entertaining
fun
as
as fuck.
fuck.
yeah.
So
Just
then,
look up best of Sean Connery Highlander
Right.
2, and you'll get some good bits.
so then we followed up that accidental bad movie with 2 intentional bad movies, Return of the Killer Tomatoes and Orgasmo. And then, so yeah, I'm just gonna knock the rest of these out here pretty quick. So then after that, it was Enter the Dragon, and then Then we started our Christmas stuff, and for the Christmas stuff, it was Kiss Kiss Bang Bang, Batman Returns,
Yeah.
Scrooged, Doctor Who Christmas Carol, and then that's the end of the Christmas videos. And then,
Is when shit
Starts
gets
get-
not fluffy.
yeah, shit starts getting real, and every now and then I'd throw in a lighter movie to kind of like cleanse the palate. But so next after that, boom, Antiviral.
Fucking, that was a movie.
Yeah. That's another one I had to do multiple cuts on. That one is number 41. It was
Oh.
supposed to be like number 23 or
That
some
was
shit
another
like
one
that.
that we ended up fucking off on, I think.
No, that was just one that I had to keep re-editing for
Yeah.
like they could give me
Okay.
copyright strikes.
But it was us on the video.
Yeah, it's y'all on the video.
Okay.
It just got postponed like forever. So then it was Wicked City, the anime after that. And then we did our Crow double feature back to back, the Crow, the original, and then the Crow Salvation part 3.
Jesus.
Right. Then Clockwork Orange. Then The Fly, then Tusks. Yeah. Then 8mm.
Which I guess was kind of our reprieve. Was
Right.
us.
And then after 8mm was Itchy the Killer. And after Itchy the Killer was Tonight. So, okay, my favorite, like in terms of filming it and the episodes that we got, I would have to say that, like, while the process of like watching the movie for Trainspotting 1 and 2 was probably very, very cool, and I really enjoyed that.
Yeah.
Probably my favorite video we got out of it is probably going to be like the Friday the 13th part 4.
Mhm.
Because again, that's my favorite movie in the fucking franchise.
Mhm.
And like, it's one of those movies that no one expects anything out of. So the fact that like y'all watched it and we're like, oh yeah, this is actually like
Yeah, this
a
is
good
sick.
movie.
Yeah,
Like
it was really good.
beyond just being like a slasher, a good slasher movie. Like it's actually a pretty solid movie with good performance. Like it's a solid movie. And just the fact that like it's a movie I've loved since I was a kid. And like I got to do a movie or a video about Friday the 13th where I was like, no, this is a good movie.
Yeah.
And other people being
It's
like,
legit.
oh no, yeah, this is a good movie. Like instead of just being like, well, no, it's Friday the 13th. Fuck you. You know?
Yeah.
So that was really good for me. And at the same time, I really loved doing Itchy the Killer.
Oh yeah.
Like I loved doing Itchy the Killer because that movie is fucking insanity.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That one's a hard like to take away from just because you're like, I don't know what the fuck I feel
Yeah.
after that
Yeah.
one.
Well, that's
you know,
why we did
'cause
it right before
it's
this.
Like there was so many moments where you're like,
Sorry.
like
It's okay.
what? And then just freaking like there's other parts where you're like, oh dude, fuck no.
Yeah.
Like, bro, fuck.
Right.
Yeah,
you
it
know?
was yeah.
Not good. Hell yeah.
So
Least favorites.
right. Okay, so real quick we'll go through our least favorites and then we will go ahead and sign off and we
Aw,
will be
man.
concluded with this series.
Dun, 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 dun.
So
You'll see us though.
So, and again, like, let's say to keep this kind of brief, in general, least favorite. So it does, either the viewing or the episode itself or
Mhm.
something like that, or just the movie, you know, general least favorites.
This one was pretty hard to watch, but the Cannibal Holocaust is pretty rough.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Crash was
I don't
pretty
even
rough
think
too.
it's gonna make my least favorite on that.
Really?
Like, yeah.
I don't know. Crash was pretty rough too for me.
Yeah.
Yeah, no,
Yeah,
that
no.
is my least favorite.
Really?
Oh, really?
Oh, fuck that
Yeah.
movie. Like, I just
What do you think his anus looks like?
Jesus. Like, yeah. I don't know why, but on many levels that movie had me uncomfortable, right?
Yeah.
And like maybe it's
because
paranoia with car wrecks also.
Yeah.
And like, because that's a very like, while a lot of this is real or it seems real or
Yeah.
it's like plausible, like a
Right.
serial killer or anything, that one is the most real.
Yeah.
In the essence of like that happens every day.
Yeah.
In thousands.
And these are people
right?
who are just like weird
Getting
people.
off on it.
Yeah.
right? Like, so that ideal in general fucks with me. And then yeah, some of the dialogue and some of the just, you know, like the most fascinating scene was probably the one with the Porsche where he's redoing the thing with, because I love that Porsche.
Mhm.
I'm not even a huge Porsche guy, but I love that one and the 911s.
Mhm.
And then, but that story also
Yeah.
with James Dean.
Yeah.
And which is the most fascinating part of that movie. But other than that, fuck that movie.
Yeah,
Like,
it
that
was
is
rough, man.
the least favorite
That's
one.
probably my
hands
least
down.
favorite, too.
It's so alien.
Yeah,
Like,
and
It's
I think
so
that's what
far
it is because it
removed
feels
from, like-
Yeah.
disjointed.
well, like everything
100%.
about it is so like grounded in reality, like you
Mhm.
said, but it feels so askew. It feels so alien. It's a very alienating movie, is
Yeah,
what I'm trying
yeah.
to say. And yeah, like I love it, but like I get why it's not people's favorite
Yeah.
movie,
Yeah.
you know. All right. So yeah, Crash is yours. That's
Crash,
fair.
yeah.
Again, Casey Jones fucks Ultron in the ass in that movie.
I mean, you couldn't get a better
So,
description. It's what happens.
Yeah. That's what happens, man.
Mhm.
So Bree, what was your least favorite thing? Or not least favorite thing, but what was your least favorite episode or movie?
Either this movie specifically, Cannibal Holocaust, or Crash.
Okay.
Yeah, those were the ones that probably made me the most uncomfortable.
Okay. Let's see. What was my least favorite? The thing is, like, again, for me, because I edit them and stuff, like I have a
You probably have least favorite from a different point of view.
yeah, like I have a slightly different relationship with the material.
Yeah.
So like honestly, my least favorite video at this point that we have in this is probably the Logan video.
Yeah.
I was thinking that
The ones they
was
gave
gonna
us
be
most
that.
Because my first cut of that video was like 40 minutes. It was the first video I'd done that was that long
Mhm.
and that I'd put that much time and energy into. And it was probably the best edited video where like I was able to find good clips to like make all of our points really well and really succinctly. But at the end of the day, like I kept getting flagged for using like 3 seconds of footage, even though that's not what the terms of YouTube state. But and then like once they had given me 2 strikes, if I get one more, then that's my channel's done.
Yeah.
So like basically that's when I just had. So yeah, that's my least favorite because it should have been one of the best episodes, and instead it's basically like it feels like we still say interesting things, and it's like it's not bad, you know what I'm saying? But like it could have been so much better than what it was.
Right.
And then like from another perspective, probably just the episode that like I'm the most like detached from in terms of like the actual episode itself is probably the Solo one, because it was
yeah, you're just not a Star Wars fan.
well, I
really.
mean, I like Star Wars, and like I didn't even dislike the movie.
Mhm.
It was just more a matter of like, number one, I was really off because I was out of town, and like it was before, like I'd already kind of made up my mind about the idea of like keeping the format similar and stuff, but I kind of broke that rule. And then also the sound in that video is really trash because I had just started using the new computer and that stuff not long ago. And like at the time we were having the problem where without a microphone, all you could hear was the computer. And in that video, I have the computer as far away from the camera as it could be.
Yeah.
And it was still just doing it. And because of it, it kept annoying me in the video. And so like I wasn't very good. And it was just me and Luke, you know? And so like since I wasn't like on and I really needed to be leading the episode, like it's just not a very energetic episode. And I missed stating a lot of things about the movie that I should have brought up, both in terms of things I liked and things I didn't like, where there were a lot of things in both categories that I hadn't noticed anyone else mentioning, and I should have, but I didn't. So yeah, that's probably my least favorite in that respect. So yeah. let's see what we got going on here. No, not the end. Yeah. Sorry, man. So yeah, that's our favorite and our least favorite from What You Mean You Ain't Seen. And yeah, that is the end, bro.
Yep.
Sorry, man. We're about to call this thing quits. Not only for the night, but
well, we'll have discussions. Probably he'll still be showing us.
No,
cancer.
And again, like
and
again, that's the show ending. Like we might still have other I'm sure we'll have other similar stuff coming out at some point. And then on the anniversary of the first video we put up, I actually want to do a reaction video of us watching that first video.
Yeah.
So we're fucking trash.
Right. Yeah, we were so fucked up on that first one for the Green Lantern one. So we're definitely going to be doing that kind of stuff. But for those of you watching right now, and those of you who are going to watch the video after it passed, and those of you who have watched any or all of the 50 plus, not 50 plus, there's only 50. The 50 episodes live, ladies and gentlemen, the 50 episodes that we have up. Thank you very, very much. We really appreciate your support. And we've watched a lot of fun and fucked up movies.
Yeah.
And
probably going to keep doing it.
Yeah.
Just might not tell you about it every time.
Right.
But if we start seeing enough views build up in the back catalog on the playlist, then maybe we'll consider bringing the show back at some point.
Yeah,
that never fucking happens. Nobody gives a shit. Nobody gives a shit. Anyway, guys, what I'm trying to say is thank you very much for watching. This has been What You Mean You Ain't Seen, and we'll be signing off now.
Good night.
Later.
Nerd scum, motherfucking out. And now we get to the awkward part where I hit the end of the stream.
And
we don't know.
Yeah,
we don't know.